nations and peoples. There are no nations. There are no peoples. There are no Russians. There are no Arabs. There are no third worlds. There is no West. There is only one holistic system of systems. One vast and immane, interwoven, interacting, multivariate, multinational dominion of dollars. Petrodollars, electrodollars, multi-dollars, Reichmarks, rims, rubles, pounds, and shekels. What do you think the Russians talk about in their Council of State? Karl Marx? They get out their linear programming charts, statistical decision theories, Minimax solutions, and compute the price-cost probabilities of their transactions and investments just like we do. Am I getting through to you, Mr. Beale? You get up on your little 21-inch screen and howl about America and democracy. There is no America. There is no democracy. There is only IBM and ITT and AT&T and DuPont, Dow, Union Carbide, and Exxon. Those are the nations of the world today. What do you think the Russians talk about in their country?
I like that. How do you like that, ladies and gentlemen? There are no nations of the world today. Only corporations, okay? Now, that guy said it all in the movie 1973. I forget. What the heck was the name of that movie? Michelle, do you know the name of that movie? The something or other. The bottom line is, in 1973, the cat was out of the bag. People were aware enough to know that their government was not necessarily their friend and that they couldn't trust them anymore. And in fact, according to this guy, and in fact, the truth is there is no government. There is only corporations. And yet, here we are 40 years later, nothing's changed except these corporations have the network is what it was called, have even a tighter stranglehold over the human beings. And today, our subject matter revolves straightly around that. What did you think about that little intro, Jerry?
Yeah, that's very, very fitting. You know, once again, science fiction, they said it way long ago where we are, and here they are, like you said, years, decades later, and they're just telling us, trust us, it's all good.
Yeah, so again, talking with Jerry La Pietra, and she's one of the original 10 years ago, GMO-free Kauai. People who wanted GMO out of Kauai, if you missed the first half of the show, GMO is a way of selling pesticides and herbicides because they genetically modify the plants. As Jerry said, they shouldn't even be allowed to call it corn because it's not. It's something else they've created, but yet they sneak it in as corn. And what it is, it allows you to spray a whole bunch of poison all over that and kill all the other weeds, and it doesn't kill the plants. And they do all their experiments here in Hawaii. They get away with what would take 10 years to experiment with on the mainland in 3.5 here, which means they dump 10 years of their pollutants and their pesticides, and it's all an experiment. They don't know where it's going. Does that kind of sum it up, Jerry? Because I'm trying to figure out a way how to do that in 5 seconds.
No, it really is. It's unregulated. We're like their open-air laboratory. There's no control over the pollen, and one of the genetic modifications is the plant-based insecticide, the DT it's called. So the pollen, the leaves, every cell of the GMO plants have DT in them. And we don't know if it's safe to eat. We don't know, it kills beneficial insects as well as pests. So it's a very imprecise technology.
You know, that same movie, Jerry, the guy was famous for sticking his head out the window and saying, "Scream, everyone, I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore." Well, unfortunately, you better have a strong backbone because 10 years later, you guys were mad as hell and didn't want to take it, and here you are today. There are no countries. There's only AT&T, Dow Chemical, and in this case, of course, Bayer. And on the front page of the paper today, Syngenta, moving more people to Kauai. And I'm going to bring a marine biologist, Mr. Terry Lilie, onto the show with us right this second. Hang on a second. Whatever you're doing, don't do that because I'm trying to do a show. I'm going to bring Dr. Terry Lilly, or marine biologist Terry Lilly from Honolulu onto the show right now. And let's hear from Terry. Terry, aloha, welcome. Thanks for joining us again on Hawaii's Tomorrow.
Aloha, thank you for letting me be here and talk about this evening. This is like a really, 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 really important subject.
Give us the shortest version you got of your background and how you got involved.
You know, and I will in a heartbeat, but I just got to tell you, as a biologist, my favorite movie in the entire world was Jurassic Park, and I never, ever, ever thought I would actually be living that in real time on the island called Kauai, and that's what's going on right now.
You mean scientific experiments? By the way, they filmed that. They filmed it in Honolulu, quite a bit of it.
I know they did, and I actually was part of that. And we're dealing with something right here that could be just as bad of an outcome. Just really basically, I've been scuba diving and monitoring the reefs here in Kauai for about 15 years, and I've done over 1,000 hours underwater diving with an educational movie series and documented this very unusual coral disease. It's turned out to be the worst coral disease that's ever been documented in the Hawaiian Islands. Since then, today we just got out of the water with one of the world-class NOAA dive research teams monitoring this disease, and have been working with UH and the USGS on monitoring this disease. And one of the things that I just have to put out there, that this whole interesting deal about genetic engineering and making new species of animals and making new species of plants and throwing all of these different products out into the environment can and is probably changing our ecosystem here in Kauai, under the water and above the water. The one thing that I think people are really missing here is that every single plant and animal type on this planet, every single plant and animal on this island will end up sooner or later in the ocean. And there are bacteria that evolve with these plants and animals to degrade them, tear them apart, and dissolve the plants.
We're talking about, when you say evolve, over millions of years. Primarily.
Yeah, over millions of years. If you have a plant that evolves here on Kauai, or even evolves in a natural way, and even if it's in the food chain that passes through humans and goes out into the ocean sooner or later in fecal products, or it just washes off the land, that you're going to have bacteria, a whole bunch of different bacteria, that live in that plant and in that animal, and bacteria that are going to be in the ocean that need to tear that animal apart down to its carbon basis to recycle it in the sea. The sea, 79% of all of Kauai is the ocean. And so you have literally trillions of different bacteria that have evolved with plants and the animals here in Kauai to tear apart, to eat, to dissolve those products when they go into the ocean. Now, when you take an genetically engineered plant like a corn that's engineered with human genes, or sugarcane engineered with human genes, or corn engineered with jellyfish genes, you're going to have these byproducts of these new type animal types, or whatever you want to call them, or plant types, are going to end up in the ocean. And the bacteria that are native here, that know how to deal with the products in the ocean, are not going to know how to deal with these new types of genetically engineered animals or plants. And so what that's going to do is that's going to cause the bacteria in the ocean to evolve quickly.
We say evolve, that sounds like it takes a long time. How about mutate? We watch TV, we think that happens in a heartbeat.
Well, with bacteria can evolve or mutate within a matter of months.
Okay.
That's one of the reasons why we have such a hard time curing the staph bacteria, Staphylococcus now, is because it evolves and mutates to deal with the antibiotics.
Okay, back to the situation here. Go ahead.
So you throw all this stuff in Kauai in the water, which is happening now every single day with this giant test experiment that we're all involved with here. The bacteria here are not going to know how to deal with it. Okay, now that being said, all of a sudden now in Kauai, this could be a coincidence, but we're an idiot if we don't look into this. It could be a coincidence, but on Kauai here, we now have on the North Shore of Kauai 3 bacteria working together to devastate our reefs at an enormous rate that not one scientist has ever seen anywhere else in the world.
Now, okay, so you guys already know there's a lot of unknowns about this disease, but one of the things that is unknown is that it's 3 bacteria never before seen to work together, working together to destroy the coral.
The coral, at an alarming rate of 2 to 8 inches a week per coral, and these corals only grow 4 to 8 inches a year. So we're trying desperately to figure out what's causing this disease and why it's spreading, and that's why some of the top scientists in the world are here right now. But we're trying to swim up a waterfall, basically, when we have companies that are throwing new animals and new plants at us day by day into the ocean to deal with how that's modifying the ocean and the bacteria in the ocean.
Okay, now let me say that you are going to be my guest for a full hour on Friday.
Yeah.
And I just want a quick word before I get back to Jerry is what have some of the greatest minds in the planet on this type of thing said about just the idea that perhaps we've got bacterial mutation due to genetic organisms in the ocean?
Well, Jeff, this is the part here. I've been doing underwater research for 30 years and have been involved in projects around the world. Almost all the time, us scientists get our ego in the way and we go, we know what's going on, or we have a theory of what's going on. Mm-hmm. I think you're going to find the folks from NOAA, from the University of Hawaii, from the USGS, and myself, the people that spend the time in the water documenting this, every one of us is saying, we have no clue what's happening here. And that's why we're really promoting, whether it be studying these genetic engineered plants and animals on land and their effects on the ecosystem, or studying these genetically engineered plants and animals in the ocean and how they may be causing an evolution of the biology in the ocean itself. We just need massive amounts of study to even come up with a theory of what's going on. That's what's scary about this. When science goes berserk and crazy into the future and starts engineering and doing things that they capable of doing, but they don't have the background studies for a period of time to find out the ramifications of our actions, then that's what we end up calling the chaos theory. That's what everything falls apart.
Jerry, this guy likes to talk, doesn't he?
It's very interesting. So much to say, Jeff.
Well, the good news is he's got a full hour coming up.
I know.
Okay, he's got a full hour coming up, and again, pick the brains of these guys as deeply as you can, and you don't have to tell them. And by the way, invite them on the show with you on Friday.
I absolutely will, because like the people that are on the show right now, we have a voice in Kauai. We have a lot to say, and we damn well better start saying it.
Okay, thank you for that. And we're out of time, so I will see you again Friday.
All righty, Aloha.
And then I say, folks, tune into that. Now, Jerry, what do you want to add to all this? I mean, first of all, how can people, pardon me, I don't suppose you have any problem with getting members from GMO-free Kauai from other islands or other places on the planet, do you?
No, absolutely. You can call us. Our GMO-free Kauai cell number is 808-651-9603. That's 651-9603. We also have our Hawaii Seed website. We are a statewide organization. We have a great couple of films on there. Molokai Moms on a Mission is our newest one. And I'd just like to say, we never before have been spraying these chemical cocktails, and we really don't understand the impact when they're sprayed in combinations. And we've gone now from Roundup and atrazine into things called chlorpyrifos, dicambra, and the worst one, 2,4-D, Agent Orange, is being sprayed here on Kauai.
All right, so check it out again.
Yes.
We began, Jerry, with me reading this thing from the newspaper, from the New York Times. In the paper today, European Commission will enact a 2-year ban on a class of pesticides. Why do we have to be the last people to clean up our act? Why do we have to be the petri dish and the laboratory rats for this type of scientific? And why do our politicians, who are being made aware of this, not do something to stop it?
You know, I just don't understand. You know, Syngenta has been kicked out of growing GMO corn in their own country. They aren't even
Switzerland.
allowed to spray atrazine there. But over here, we are far behind, and we would be in a much better place if we were spending equal funding or better learning organic methods and concentrating on food security.
Well, again, I wanted everybody to understand that these folks are not helping to feed the poor people of the world with a 10-pound piece of corn. They're simply trying to corner the market on a seed so that you have to buy it every year, and that's bad for the third world. And then because you get to spray choke amounts of Roundup and other herbicides on that, which, as you hear from the, if you go to the government, our own government, we're creating a whole new race of mutation of super weeds.
Absolutely, you know, the patenting of the seed, farmers not being able to save their seed, you know, that's traditional practice. They should never get in the way of that. And the concentration of the seed supply should never be in the hands of 4 to 6 major corporations.
I tell you what, tomorrow I'm bringing on Terry Patch, or Lori Patch, and who's coming with her? You know her name. The person she's got her own radio show on Kauai.
Oh, Felicia Cowden?
Correct.
All right. Excellent.
So try to give a listen, because we are going to be talking somewhat about GMO. Somehow I got it all lined up this week. It's because it's such a big subject. And I want to thank you so much for joining me today. And get back to me as soon as possible. Don't make me call you, please.
I will. Well, thanks, Jeff, for giving Kauai airtime. And please join even GMO-free Oahu, Mary Lack.
Telling you,
we have a group right there on your island.
Well, I tell you what, you got to start somewhere, and if you can, I like the idea on hooeying up on Kauai, because it's a smaller, little miniature coconut wireless. You can get things done faster once there's a movement by groups, and then once it gets started there, you've proven the fact, and now you can take the same formula and move it to someplace else that would have been harder to accomplish.
Yeah, and we work very closely with Molokai, Oahu, and Maui. Yeah.
Well, thank you for what you do. I got to tell you, you and your organization, you guys have all my respect. Aloha.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you, Jeff.
All right, we'll be talking. Aloha. We'll be with her back with them. Of course, I do have 2 shows from Kauai coming up in a row. Just the way it went. Now, solar tax credit, it's good. It's rolling. Okay? It could be better. It could be worse. The bottom line is, what's worse is doing nothing. And right now, I'm keeping the size of my systems down relative to what's out there. I'm trying to leverage the tax credits as much as possible. If you need help with that, call your solar guy, Jeff, at 554-7200. Don't forget, see all of our shows on YouTube. Just do a Google search, YouTube Jeff Davis Solar Guy. And remember, the word aloha is the most powerful thing in the planet if used appropriately. It's like the kung fu of words. It's the atom bomb of words. So you use aloha for yourself, and you give yourself aloha. Care about yourself. Be nice to yourself. And when aloha comes inside you, you find how easy it is to give aloha to other people. And with that, we can really change the world. I'm your solar guy, Jeff. Have a great night. I'll see you tomorrow. Aloha.